Had a optometrist appointment this morning, and then just as I was about to pop on, then my husband called to arrange a delivery on Friday. So obviously world-shattering issues in his mind, but yeah, so all good. So we're here now, and we can relax. Take a breath. Okay, so I'm just going to check that my phone and my volume are all okay. I can see a few people jumping on, which is lovely to see. When you jump on, just let me know that you're there and where you're watching from. And if it's your first time, please let me know as well. I love to know where my audience is watching from. The volume looks okay, so I think we can head on. I have absolutely nothing. Well, I've prepared the card. I know what card we're going to make together, but I haven't cut any of the pieces yet, so I'm a little bit behind in that. Obviously just popping back from my appointment and then talking to the hubby, got a little bit behind, but I know where we're headed and I know what we're going to be using. Brand new product from Stampin' Up, which I'm absolutely chuffed to see, is the masking paper, which I have used before numerous occasions, but always used a different brand because Stampin' Up didn't have one. So finally we've got a masking paper that we can use, and I'm going to use it in a couple of ways on the same card. So rather than doing two separate cards, I'm going to use the same use the paper to do two different things that you can do with masking paper, if that makes sense. And I'm going to use, and this was new, just delivered to me during the week, the Cottage Rose bundle, which is this beautiful stamp set here. Absolutely a highlight from the new catalogue, and its matching dies here as well. So this is the first card, it's the first chance I've had to have a play with this new bundle, but I'm absolutely loving it. And the paper that goes with it as a suite is absolutely divine. So have a look in the catalogue, have a look at that suite, and add it to your wish list if you haven't already. Can see some great names. I can see Lee and Kay. Good morning, Kay and Barb and Ruth. Hey, Ruth. I've got a couple of my regulars laid down with laid down with the COVID at the moment, so I don't know whether they'll jump on or not, but we'll see. So yeah, if you're not feeling well yourself somewhere, wherever you're watching, please get better quickly. Anyway, so let's get started. As I say, I haven't actually cut myself any cardstock or anything at the moment, so we'll get that all cut. I've got a piece of basic white thick, which is going to be my card base, and a piece of basic white normal, which is going to be my the top layer. And I think I'm going to try this one. I'm going to go for a 5x5 card, a square one rather than the rectangle that I originally decided on. So I'm going to go 5x5. So I'll just cut my card base first. Excuse me while my trimmer's a little bit close in, but we'll be right once my camera's a little bit close in for my trimmer, but once this is done, we'll be right. This is all the stuff that I usually do before I even come on. So yeah, so the optometrist, all went well. My eyes haven't changed. I thought with all the close-up work I do with the Stampin' Up that my eyes would probably have deteriorated, but he said no, my eyes were fine, or the same level of blindness as I usually am. And they did a hearing test as well, and that's a new thing that my optometrist has introduced. So he did a hearing test as well, and I was a bit worried about that because I know that I'm having trouble picking up certain ranges, and my husband tells me I'm as deaf as a post, but apparently my hearing is normal for someone my age as well, which doesn't mean it's perfect, but it means it's not as bad as I've been led to believe. So I told Stephen this morning that it's not my hearing, he just needs to stop mumbling. He's a real mumbler, which is, for someone who gives lectures to students, wouldn't be a good thing. I say I often feel sorry for his students that he's mumbling away and they're trying to listen to what he's saying. Anyway, so I've cut these. I've got a 5x5 piece of the basic white, and I've got a 5x5 card base. Whether I trim the basic white down to leave a bit of a border, I'm not quite sure. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so we're going to use the masking paper first. So here it is. It comes in a pack of 12, and they are 5x7. in size. And when you pop them out, which is a great size because you can get quite a few die cuts if that's what you want to do. You can get quite a few from one pack. So they're basically just white paper on both sides at the moment, but one side has the seam down the middle, which is where you sort of rip the off, and then the adhesive, as in with normal masking paper, the adhesive is inside. So that's the masking paper we're going to use. First of all, though, I'm going to pop my image in. Oh, bit of a giveaway there. You can see where we're headed by the fact that I've got masking paper on there. I do try, and I'm sure you will as well when you buy this product, try and use the masking paper more than once. So I have actually used those strips already, and I'll keep them for a future card as well. But what we're going to do first is grab the Cottage Rose stamp set, and I'm going to grab this big beautiful bloom here. And I'm using my Stamparatus because I want to be able to come back and go over this stamp a few times if it doesn't stamp really nice and dark. And I also want to just position this particular rose smack bang in the middle of our square. So it's also what's very handy. The Stamparatus helps you with your positioning as well. So that's sort of roughly where I want it. Sort of, I might take it up a wee bit, sort of looks central to the piece of cardstock there. So anyway, so that's where I'm going to have it. I'm going to bring in my, you can see I'm using black because it left a little bit behind. I obviously didn't clean that well enough while I was having a play last night, but it's okay. So I've got my black Memento ink there. I'm going to ink that up. And just wait till you see this image. It's absolutely beautiful. So this is a pencil drawing image. You probably will, if you were just doing it as part of a normal card, you'd probably have to come in with some blends or something like that to give it a bit of colour. But this time I'm just leaving it black and white. There we are. So that's our image there. Just absolutely glorious. So I'll pop that on first and you'll see why in a moment. So I'm going to grab the die that comes with this, and I just bobbled my camera. Apologies. I'm going to clean that off first. Just get that ink off that stamp set. I'm going to grab the die that goes with this particular stamp, and I'm going to cut out a die of the flower from our masking paper. So I've got a smaller piece here. I might use this. Oh, hey, my son's just come through. You're right. Oh, why are you closing the door? Oh, you're in a meeting, are you? Oh, it's all right. Can't hear in the headset anyway. My son's just closed my door, so it's not going to muck around with my internet, is it? Okay. All right, he's closing my door, so if my internet goes, then you know that it's Sam's fault. Okay, so we've got that stamped. He's thrown me now, doing stuff in the background. Okay, so then I'm going to grab the dies that correspond with that particular image. Oh, which isn't there. Where is it? Oh, it's over here. I think I can use my small machine for that. So that's the die that goes with that particular image. If I grab my mini machine, and this piece of, is that going to go through? Maybe not quite. Oh, now he's opened it again. Make up your mind, Richards. Okay, I might have to trim that down a wee bit just to get it to fit through my mini machine. I'm just going to trim this piece down. Now, so I'm just going to chop this out of the, now I have to make sure I get it the right way up because I want it to be that orientation. So I want my paper to be with that side down. sticky side down. So I need to do it on the wrong side. Pop that through. And that's going to give us a mask. In masking paper, a mask for this particular flower. So we'll bring that off. There's our little mask. Pop you out of the way. And we have this little mask. So as you could probably tell when I opened up the case, there's the mask that I've used before. So I probably would try and get another couple of uses out of that, but I just wanted to show you what I was up to with this fresh piece. So we'll bring in our flower, and I have cut it the right way, thank heavens for that. And I'm just going to position it, the mask over the image, and I've masked that off. So now anything that we do on that piece of cardstock is going to miss the black and white image of our flower, which is exactly what we're after. Okay, checking I haven't got any ink on my fingers. Okay, so what else I'm going to do is I've got these strips. I'll bring them in. These strips of the masking paper, and I've cut these to 3/4 of an inch long, wide. So they're as long as the masking paper, which I think is 5 inches. Oh, and they just fit, of course. And I'm going to go all the way around the edges with this. So I'm lining up the 3/4 of an inch wide strip with the edge of the card and masking it. And this seems to be working quite well. They're sticking quite well, even though I've used them a few times. They're sticking okay, so that's good. So there's the two, as I mentioned, I'm going to use the 2 ways that that I've seen to use masking paper. I'm sure there's lots of others. One to create the image itself or mask the image, and the other way to form a border, which is what we're doing here as well. So there we are. So we've got all the areas masked that we want. I'm going to make sure I do it the right way up. There we are. So to create our background, I'm going to grab my blending brush, and I'm going to grab my, had it out a second ago, my ink, and it's gone missing. Which one are we using? I'm using Pale Papaya. So I'm going to use the Pale Papaya ink. Excuse me. Grab my brush, which needs a bit of a clean, and I'm going to basically brush the background now. So, and I'm going to try and grade the background so it's like dark at the bottom and sort of lightens as we go towards the top. Okay, and I hopefully won't do anything horrible to my masking paper. Okay, so just basically with my blending brush, starting at the bottom, making it nice and dark at the bottom, and then gradually lightening it up as we get to the top. Okay, it's pretty good. I might give it a little bit more down the bottom here, just make it really dark. Okay. I'm surprised my youngest is out of bed. He didn't go to bed till 3 o'clock this morning, and I basically had to go and tell him to go to bed at that time. So yes, I'm surprised I'm seeing him at this stage. Anyway, I know he's got university work to do, so hopefully is rested enough to get that done. So, okay, so now we've masked it and we've sponged it. So let's have a look. It looks a bit blotchy on the screen there. I might do a wee bit more. It actually looks blotchier on the screen than it does in real life. Okay, I won't go too much on that because I'll end up doing, hello, do you want to come and do some crafting with me? Yes, I said, I wonder you're out of bed at the moment. I don't know how you do it. I don't think I could. Not even when I was 23. Okay, so now the fun bit, it's like unwrapping a present. We'll rip off the masking paper. And when I say rip off, that's purely not literally, because you do have to still be, as with everything, you have to be gentle. So just gently bringing the edges off. I went a little bit rigorous with the first attempt and ended up ripping my paper, which wasn't too much of an issue, but yes, you do still have to be gentle. And thankfully this paper is not as sticky as it was when I first started. So, oh no, that's okay. So very gently just bring that off and you get a beautiful sort of, what's the word, sharp edge where you've masked. Okay, here we go. Another one. And I've ripped that. Let's just fix that bit. So if it does start to rip the paper, come in from the other end and you'll stop that rip from happening. Very slow. Okay, not too bad, pretty good. Here we are. And the last one. Now we've got an ambulance or a policeman or something going. Maybe de-stickify. Yeah, that could be a good idea, Inca. To sort of rub it off a bit. Put it onto something a few times. It is quite sticky these first few goes, so it's always a bit of a worry, not a worry, but it's a trial and error when a new product comes out as to how best to treat it. You know, whether you do use it straight or have to play with it a wee bit. And I'm sure we'll work it out with this one as we go. Okay, so there's a couple of bits there that have stuck, but that's okay. I can live with those. Okay, so let's get our flower. So this is the main event, is our pretty flower, and this should be quite spectacular. Now you have to be a wee bit careful when you're doing the fiddly edges of this, because around the leaves there you might rip your mask, and if you want to use your mask a few times, you don't want to rip it, obviously, like that I just did. So I'll just be a bit more careful around these little leaves. Okay, pretty good. Awesome. That's worked really well. Excellent. Keep that little mask for next time. So there we are. We have that really lovely sort of dark image over the top of the nice masked background with that lovely white edge, which I really, really like. To do something about that little rip there. Might let it just rip off completely and then we won't see it. There we are. This one as well. I've just made it worse. There you go. Anyway, so there we are. So that's our masked background there with our lovely sort of graduated colour of our pale papaya. So now what I do, whether I put that on straight onto the card or whether I trim it off a bit, I think I'll actually trim it off a bit, and that'll get rid of most of that little ripped bit there where I was a bit enthusiastic, let's say, with my masking paper. So that's at 5. If I want to take that down to say 4.5, I'll take 1/4 of an inch off each of the edges, and that'll get rid of some of those rippy bits. Assuming everything's straight. Yes, it should be, shouldn't it? Because that's the way I did it. So that there, I'm going to pop that onto my card base, just like that, just in the middle there. And I'll pop that just with some glue. And then we've got to do our sentiment. So I'm going to use white embossing powder on black cardstock to do my sentiment. And then I thought I'd bring in some black, matte black dots as well. There we are. Here we are. So our sentiment for the original card that I did in the sort of triangular format, I've used Friends Forever. I think I might swap to, I want something that's sort of just straight. I'm going to swap to Happy Birthday for this one. I haven't actually used the Happy Birthday yet. So I'll put the sticker on. So I'm going to do, as I say, I mentioned, I'm going to grab a wee bit of a scrap of basic black, and I'm going to use a white embossing powder on it. Make sure I've got that the right way around. Position it over there. There we are. Okay, so grabbing a block, grabbing my scrap of black, which I had here a second ago. Where are you, black? There you are. My first mark. Okay, so my white, you can tell I didn't, that's clear, I don't want clear, I want white, white, where are you, white? I already got it out from last time. No, where are you? Well, excuse me, I'm just going to have to find my white. No, that's not you. I had it here when I was practicing last night. Where are you, white? Apologies, everyone. As I say, I got tied up at my appointment, and then I got tied up with hubby on the phone, and there we are. Didn't get as organised as I would normally be. So anyway, here we go. Now white. I'm going to have to buy some new powders, I think. Where did that go? I can't see where I stamped it. Not there. There we are. So we've got our Happy Birthday there. That was weird. I couldn't see. The light's not as good in here as it could be. Okay, I grab my heat gun, which is over here. And once this is melted. I'm just going to might just trim this one off as a plain sort of rectangle, long skinny rectangle, I think, rather than doing any die cutting. There we are. And I'll trim this one down. I see now why Sammy wanted to close my door, because he's gone into the shower and put his music on. His music is the weirdest music I've ever seen. It's sort of half of it's people having conversations about stuff, and then frantic bursts of music, and then more talking. It's the strangest music. And I thought I listened to some weird stuff when I was growing up, but his is very bizarre. So it's probably just a good thing that you guys can't hear that. You'd be wondering what sort of household I have. Just to trim that tiny bit at the top edge there. If I can. No. It's going to stick. Cool. So let's do that. So this one's going to just pop across the bottom there of our card. Apologies, I've gone too far down the screen there. So just on the bottom there, oh, that's going to really annoy me. I'm going to trim that off a wee bit more. Use my other trimmer. That's better, I think. Yep, that's better. Okay, so that one's going to sit just on there. I'm going to put it on a couple of dimensionals. And then I'll bring in some matte black dots. And then this little one is done. So quite a quick, once you've got your masks done, it's quite a quick card. And you could produce them sort of like, you could produce like 3 or 4 in a go really quite easily once you've got your masks created. Yeah, and quite nice. I really like that. Those colours go together really well, and I love the crisp lines of the masked area. Now I'll grab my black dots, which were here somewhere, which were definitely here somewhere. Oh gosh, Julianne. Yeah. No, okay, we might not go black dots after all. We might go something else. I'll find my, oh no, there they are. There we are. So we've got our black dots there. I'll pop those around. Everyone who watches me on a regular basis knows that I'm probably not this disorganised usually. As I say, a bit of a rush around this morning with various appointments and things. There we are. There we are. So that's our card for today. So we've used our masks. We've used our masks for our border, and we've used our masks to protect our image while we did our blending brushes as well. So yeah, really nice little technique, that one. I'm going to have a bit more of a play with this stamp set and see what else I can come up with. I'm going to feature it as part of my well, masking paper and this stamp set. I'm going to feature them as part of my launch. So if you live in Australia and you'd like to still sign up for the launch, you can still do so before Friday. And, we will definitely have a bit more of a play with this pretty stamp set and the masking paper. So, okay, so thanks guys for joining. Nice and quick one today. I'm going to clean up this craft room for a start and grab some lunch. So I will talk to you all again. Have a great week, and I'll probably see you all again at the weekend. Okay, bye, guys.